I would just love to welcome up Anil with his talk on planning for success, learning the power of a one-page plan to get clear on your priorities and map out your plan of action for 2022. And I've just knocked over the water that I told you to put up there earlier too. Oh, that's really bad. I don't think it's on any electrical cables. I think it's all good.
I'll just do a quick refill. Is my mic's on? Yep. All right. Good morning, good afternoon now, everyone. So good to see you all. And can I ask who here has been yesterday or the day before, not just today? Wow, quite a few. So I'm sure you're all, your head's full of ideas, overflowing, trying to make sense of all the notes you've taken. So today is really, or my session today is really just to help you maybe make sense of some of that. Think about your business in a certain way and try to get all of those thoughts running around in your head down on paper and give you a bit of a framework and a bit of a structure to do that, okay? All right, so, there we go. So first up, it's great to see, and I was talking to a few people that I know in the audience, a few familiar faces, and they've said that it's just been a fantastic couple of days. It's been a fantastic way to restart the year, and especially after COVID and isolations and everything else. So I really want to just thank you all for coming along, for taking the time out, especially on a Saturday. I wasn't exactly expecting so many people here on a Saturday. So welcome and thanks for coming along. So just a very quick intro to myself first. I'm an accountant by training, but I've been running my own business coaching and consulting firm for nearly 17 years now, so since 2005. So I've got plenty of experience out there in the market. And what I generally do is work with businesses that are growing and need help managing that growth. So established, growing, and looking for those tools and strategies to put the foundations in place to continue to grow. And so I don't really focus on marketing. I'm sure there's been plenty of marketing type speakers. My focus is on these sorts of things: strategy, planning, which we're here today to talk about. Productivity, that's both your individual productivity. So a few people who've been to my events and education in the past know that I spend a lot of time on things like time management, but also business productivity. So the productivity of your team, processes, and so on. And ultimately, it's all about improving the profits in your business. And that's why my business is called the Profit Coach. And it's not all about the profit, but profit helps you, it gives you greater choices and more freedom. Whether it's to reward yourself or your family or your team, attract additional people to your business so you can buy back your time, reward your team, or just give back to the community. Really just depends on what your personal values and priorities are. But it is all, so don't be concerned or guilty about wanting to make a profit in your business. You know, that can really hold people back. It's all about giving you extra choice and the freedoms that come with that. Just very briefly, the sorts of services I provide, traditionally it's one-on-one coaching, but I know a lot of businesses aren't in a position to budget or afford one-on-one coaching, so I do have a group coaching program as well, which is much more affordable. Plus, those people that don't need any ongoing assistance, I do a lot of one-off business planning and review type sessions as well. Okay, so that's enough about me. So what I want to cover off today is I'm going to give you an overview of my business building model. And the reason I'm doing that is because it really is a great way for you to think about your business, break it down into different components, and work out what is the priority for you. And as you grow your business, there'll be different parts of that model that you need to tap into. As part of that, there's a checklist now. There's a handout that's been going around, but I only brought 20 copies because I was told that it's all online and you can access that all online. But I will be bringing up those handout pages up on the screen. And even if you've just got a piece of blank paper, and you can use that to get some things down. But definitely the checklist, which I'll take you through, is a whole heap of strategies there around my business building model that I'll take you through. I want you to come out of today identifying what the priorities are for your business. And so today is more like a mini workshop. I'm not going to be sharing a whole bunch of information. I really want you to get some ideas down on paper. And part of that is sharing with you my one-page success plan or business plan. It's a tool that I use with all of my clients, whether they're 2 people in the business or 100 people in the business. And it's a great way to get your thoughts down on paper. And if you need any help down the track, I'll share some options there for you as well. All right, so first up, my business building model. I think there's a pointer on here somewhere. Here we go. Apologies to those that are already across it, but it's a good reminder for you who I know have been to some of my sessions in the past. So I always tell people there are 3 parts to every business, and that's represented by these 3 headings at the top of the columns. So the first part of every business is getting the work in the door. The second part is getting the work done productively and effectively. And the last part is getting paid, getting organised, making sure the back office is working. So if you want to write all this down, feel free. Otherwise, they are in the handouts. And then within each of these, wrong button. Within each of these 3 columns, there are 3 other areas that I break that down into. So the first, I've done the same, spilt my water. Getting the work in the door is made up of getting your strategy right. So what I mean by that is understanding where you're positioned in the market, who the competitors are, what your financial and your business model looks like, pricing, all of those types of things. Really understanding how you're going to stand out and how you're positioned in the market. Marketing is all about generating leads, and I'm sure there's been plenty of talks about that today. But marketing is also about looking after your existing customers. So it's not just about new customers. And sales' job is about taking those leads and converting them into customers. Now, I'm sure there's a whole variety of different size businesses here. Some of you will have dedicated salespeople. Others wear the hats of all of these different functions in your business. But it's just really thinking about generating more business in, breaking it down into these steps, I suppose. The middle part, getting the work done. Delivery is just getting the basics right, making sure that your customers are getting what they expect. There's no bottlenecks, no letdowns. And when I take you through the checklist quickly, you'll see things like scripts and checklists in there. So just the basics. Team, when you're getting to that stage, is about how to attract the right people, induct them, manage them, develop them, and help them learn the skills and the way you do things so that they can help you run the business. And systems is to support them in that. It's really having all of your processes documented, the right IT systems, automation, whatever else is relevant to your business. And I think for all of you probably know that a great business to grow needs a great team and great systems. All right. Once you've got that, then it's smooth sailing. The last part here, getting paid, getting organised. Direction is really getting all of these things that you need to do into some sort of a plan, and that's what I really want to share with you today. So you're clear on where you want to head, what the priorities are. But if you do have team members, then you can share that plan with them, and they know where the business is heading as well. Time, now I'm not going to share any time management techniques, but I'm sure who would love to have another 2 hours or 5 hours in their week? I'm sure most people, whether it's in your business week or in your personal life, time is a big area that we need to get on top of. And I'm an accountant by training, so numbers is super important to me. So really understanding the numbers, and I really encourage all of you to really take the time to understand what key numbers are in your business, not just your P&L and those sorts of reports, but KPIs, revenue targets, activity targets, those sorts of things that you should be doing each week to make sure that the results are there at the end of the day. Okay? All right, so that's just very briefly a way to think about your business and to think about, well, what are the pieces that I need to work on? And most people would always focus on the front end, trying to get more work in the door. But unless you really need leads, if your business is fairly stable, I focus on this outside part first. reviewing the business, reviewing what's happening out there, what the trends are, where your business is placed, but then making sure that you've got your time under control, you understand your financials, you understand what services are making money. There's no point scaling up if you're going to be run off your feet, you don't have those strategies in place, and you're not making the money that you should be making from all the effort that you are putting in. So it is about getting that model right first. All right, so I'm not going to go through that in much detail, but for those that have the handout, or you can download it online later, this is really just a very simple checklist to show you that in these 9 areas, there are some simple strategies that you can implement step by step. It could be, one of these, a couple of these every quarter, just to improve your business and yourself in each of these areas. Okay, so for example, things like in time, doing a time log, understanding where your time goes. Who here has a tool or has heard about a tool called a default diary or an ideal week diary? Obviously, Andrea has. I know Andrea well. There's a few other people. So there's some simple tools that you can get across to really help you better manage yourself and your business. There's another point here is Covey's 4 quadrants. Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, who's heard of the book or read the book. Yep. So some simple principles that you as business owners can learn to better manage your business and improve the chance of your success and results. All right, so that's there really for you to refer back to afterwards and take home and go through. And if anyone wants to chat about any of those or has any questions, then feel free to contact me afterwards. Okay, so let's start with understanding your priorities. So for those that don't have the handout, if you can just draw that model up on a page somewhere. And first of all, think about, well, what's the priority for you in terms of these columns? Is the priority get the work in the door? Is the priority get the work done more productively, more effectively? Or is it the last part, getting paid, getting organised? Okay, so I'll give you a little bit of time just to draw that model up if you haven't, and just to have a think about that. Who here, and there may be more than one column that's a priority for you. Can I ask who here thinks their priority right now is getting more work in the door? Yeah, okay, all right. So probably not as many as I thought. I thought there'd be more than that, which is good. What about getting the work done, more effectively, productively? Yeah, good. And last part is, the back end, getting paid, making sure you understand your numbers, your time, managing all of that. Yeah. And who's got more than one area? All right. So out of those 9 areas then, circle on your model one of those areas, or maybe 2, that you think needs attention in your business. Maybe a bit of focus for the next 3 months. So I do a lot of, the planning I do with my clients is quarterly. So we obviously look at the big picture, understand the big picture and the goals, but every 3 months, review those longer term goals and put a plan in place for the next 3 months. And it's good to have a focus around that. So who'd like to share what they feel just by looking at that model? I know we haven't done any real analysis about on your business. Who'd like to share what they feel is a priority for them right now? Delivery? Okay. What sort of business do you have? Sorry? You're an accountant? Accountants are run off their feet at the moment. Are you sure? Are you looking for staff as well, or? Yeah. So things like for an accountant could be, and accountants, you're fairly well versed and educated in these areas, but sometimes the systems that you should be following just aren't being followed because it's too busy. So obviously checklists, those sorts of things, but definitely, huddles, daily huddles, all of those. So, it's a lot of times people know what they should be doing, but it's just putting it down. And a big principle that I have is think on paper. You know what you need to do in your head, but if you put it down on paper, it makes it clearer, it makes it easier to share with the team. Okay, so who else would like to share? Yeah.
I've got 2. It's sales and numbers.
Okay, good. So you're saying sales is a focus because you're getting leads, but you're not. You know you could be doing a better job converting those. Okay, all right. That's a big area. So while I've got a bit of time, I'll just give you maybe some. What sort of business? Very good. I mean, it depends on how you're generating leads. You know, if they're online leads, obviously looking at some sort of CRM that nurtures those leads and helps warm them up, I suppose, before the conversation, or just even mapping out what your sales process needs to be. So that's once again getting it down on paper. You probably, and until you do that, you're probably not clear yourself. So the way I think about processes is step it all out. You know, this is step 1, step 2, step 3. Your job's not to sell them to step 4 straight away. It's really just to get them to the next step. And then for each of those steps, have a think about what tools you can use to help with that next step. Okay, so for example, if step 1 is, you know, to organise an appointment, there could be a questionnaire that gets sent out, or, you know, so obviously I don't understand exactly what you do, but that type of thinking. And you know, training around sales, listening to CDs, reading books, there's plenty of that sort of stuff out there. Numbers, my favourite topic. Who would love to learn more about the numbers, and who actually tracks numbers in their business? Not just the financials, but other key numbers. Yeah, quite a few people. Can I ask what sorts of numbers? Yep. Yep. Yep.
But also metrics like how long it takes for a client to go through the funnel, or where are the bottlenecks, how long does it take
Yep.
to go from this point to this point.
Yep. And how many are actually moving across along that process? Yep. Yep. And then possibly activity numbers, you know, all that sort of thing. Okay. So the first thing I'd probably start with is really understanding your financials, your profit and loss statement, and that could be with your bookkeeper, it could be with your accountant, it could be with a business coach or another colleague that understands numbers. And then from there you can work out, well, what are the key numbers to track? And every business is different, you know, so an accountant will track different numbers to a wholesaler or a manufacturer, okay? Obviously I can't go through, there's so much to know in business, it's just getting a taste of some of the things that how to think about it. Who else would like to share an area of focus that hasn't come up maybe? No? All good? Okay, all right, so what I want to share now, I've got 12 minutes on the clock, is my one-page plan. So for those that don't have the handout, this is the one-page plan, and hopefully everyone can read that from the back, but I'll just take you through it very quickly. So the top left-hand corner here is the big picture stuff that you've probably had other speakers talk about. So we have here, what's our vision, what's our 10-year target, what does our business look like? You know, that's what vision's all about. What do we want it to look like in 10 years or longer? Or it could be 5 years, whatever your time frame is. What's your mission or purpose? So why does your business exist? What is it here to help others achieve? Most of you have probably heard of Simon Sinek and have read or at least watched the TED Talk, the Start With Why. So it is about understanding why you do what you do. It'll give you drive. It's easier then to enrol your team into that purpose as well. Third box here is all about your core values. You know, what's important to you in terms of behaviours, attitudes, and so on. But interestingly enough, when I start with a client, I don't focus on those areas because even though I know a lot of people say, well, you need to get all that clear, there's so many other things that need attention, I find, first. And a lot of businesses, these concepts take time to understand and to really reflect on. So it's really this part of the model, or the plan that I focus on first, getting some marketing reviewed and knowing what your key points of difference are and where you're positioned and so on. But then this is the 3-year goals, what revenue targets you have, what profit targets, what are the key goals that you want to achieve in the next 3 years. Same for 12 months. And the way I'd encourage you to think about that is, don't worry too much about where you are right now. If you can dream, if you unlock yourself from whatever your current challenges are and limitations, what you feel your limitations are, and really just think about where would you ideally like to be in 3 years, okay? And then from there, what do you want to achieve by this time next year, which is 12 months? And you can use that model to help guide that, or whatever. There's obviously lots of different goals that people have outside of that model that I shared. But the important part of this plan, because you've probably done that in the past, you've written down your goals, you sort of have an idea of where you want to get to. But this is the important part. It's having a process to follow every quarter to break down those long-term goals into something that you can focus on now and implement over the next 3 months. So these are the 90-day goals. So based on those 12-month goals, which of those projects do you want to actually work on in the next 90 days? What parts of those do you want to complete? Plus, there's probably other things that you know are on your list as well. Okay? And it may not just be business improvement type goals. There could be other big picture goals that you want to focus on. So you write down your goals down here. Then you list down who's responsible for those. It could be you, or it could be your team members, if you have team members, or it could be external contractors or consultants. Okay, so try to get others to take responsibility. And then this is simply broken down into months. So this is the project, or this is the big picture goal. What are the activities we need to do each month to achieve that? And this can take some practice to really work out what are the steps. Who's done a bit of this in the past and is a bit practiced in this? It can take some time to think about. So a simple example is, goal is to update our website. Month 1 could be to review other websites that you like the look of and find a developer. Month 2, very good. Month 2 might be to obviously provide all the content and photos and whatever else. And then month 3 is to review and to make those final changes and launch. Right, so that's a very simple project. So it's really just thinking about how do you break that goal down into the milestones. And then you might also then think, well, we don't need to start goal 3 until month 2. You can't do everything at once. So what I really encourage you to do is, if it's a small business, maybe only have 3 or 4 goals here. If you have a larger business, then you obviously have more people that can help you in your team. But once you've done that, review each month and just make sure that month 1 looks achievable. Okay, because I know that whenever I start with a client, everyone wants to pack in that first 90-day period, and then things don't get done. So it's my job to really help them manage that and make sure it's doable, because people can feel let down if they aren't achieving. All right, so who actually goes through, what sort of planning process for those that do it? How often do you sit down with your team or with yourself and write things down on paper? Who actually does write down goals? A few? Yep. How often would you do that? Is it annually? Is it quarterly? What was that? Randomly? Some said quarterly. Yeah. So I think most people probably understand the power of reviewing this every quarter. And then it's really just getting into the habit of every week. I use a Post-it note. So with my clients, I call it Post-it Monday. So grab a Post-it note, look at your 90-day plan, which is now all written out and easy to refer to. And look at that month. Okay, so what are my projects or what are my activities for this month? What do I want to get done this week? Write on a Post-it note. It could be 3 or 4 things. It's not your to-do list. It could only be 1 or 2 things actually if it's just your on the business work. And then I put that on my laptop, so it's staring me in the face. And I also allocate that time into my calendar. But I'm quite structured, so not everyone works that same way. So I know some people are less structured than others, but really just find a system that works for you. Okay, so any questions before I move on from there? All right, what I'd like you to do is, I know it's probably a bit premature because you're going to take some time, at home over the weekend to review all of your notes and everything from the last couple of days. I know what conferences are like. There's a bucket load of notes, but maybe just write down now what you feel might be your main priorities for the next 90 days. Okay. So I'll give you just a minute or two to do that. Just think about maybe 3 to 5, if you can, immediate things that you want to achieve or put in place coming out of this conference or out of this model where we talked about some of these, some of the topics or issues that people shared. I might just give you another 30 seconds or so, and then for anyone wants to share, it would be great to hear what's on your list. Already? All right, go ahead. What sort of business? Do you want to just introduce yourself quickly?
Hi, I have a business called Her Smile. We help every woman discover her smile using the tools fitness, beauty and styling. My signature program is helping women to move correctly, because that's the gap that's missing between exercising and getting strong and fit and where you start, your starting point. People get injured. So we've been working on this for 3 years, and what we now have is a tried and tested system that's extremely successful and endorsed by a female medical doctor. And what we're now doing is launching our app, the Her Smile app. That'll be launched on the 1st of April. What we're doing is had a proper videographer come in and film me instructing exactly how to do it all in video in modules. And those will be completed and put up on the app. And so the goal is by the 1st of April, have the app ready, have it all completed and videoed, and then 2 clients in to check that everything's working seamlessly.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing. Would anyone else like to share what's on their, maybe some priorities, 2 or 3 key priorities over the next 90 days? No? All right, excellent. Last one, and then we probably better wrap up.
So I'm hiring my first assistant.
And what's your business? That's excellent.
I work with women's health, menopause and midlife, and empower women to become healthy, etc., etc. Yep. So I'm hiring my first staff, and one of the jobs we're going to do together is create and document the procedures and systems, which I think is easy to say and much harder to do because there's lots of decisions to make, strategy and direction.
Excellent.
So I think that's probably a year project, not 3 months. So that to hire the person, work on the direction strategy, and then I have to get money in the door to pay for it all. So I need leads and sales.
Okay, great. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
On that point, a lot of people I've noticed in the past put off hiring someone because they feel they don't have systems and they don't have processes documented. So don't let that hold you back. One great way to get things documented is when you're training the person, when they're starting, just tell them, make sure they write everything down as they're getting trained, and you can then start that documentation process. So very good. Thanks for sharing. All right, so I better wrap up there. So if anyone wants to just reach out, happy to provide an editable version of that one-page planning document, which is already a PDF on your download page for this conference. Happy to chat to anyone about anything on that that I've covered or your business in general. And thank you all for sharing and for coming along to the conference.
Thank you so much. Did you want to take your water so I don't knock it over again? Because 100% it will absolutely happen. Okay, so we have one lucky last speaker before we go. She's already on her way up there. So would love to welcome Leanne. Leanne Shelton, presenting Just Ask, Just Do, Just You.
Thank you.
Big round of applause, please.
Woo. Awesome. Now, we are on the home stretch, everyone. So let's get up and stretch. Everyone stand up. You know those stretches we learnt at the physio? That was so good, that one. I love that one. Do that, whatever your body needs. Move around, twist, just like get it moving. Awesome. And if you feel like you give the person next to you a high five and say, we've done it, this is awesome. Yes. All right, high fives, yes. You've done it, yes. All right. So I'm all about just ask, just do, be you. It actually originally was just you, but I realised it can't just be you. You need people around you to make things happen. And I'll explain what all this stuff means. But basically, how's everyone been feeling about this conference? Hands up if you enjoyed yourself and you met amazing people and you've got something you want to take away that you've learnt. Yes, great. Well, did you know that 80% of people who leave a conference never do the stuff? And did you know 69% of statistics are completely made up? That one and the last one. I actually have no idea what the stat is. I did a bit of a Google search. I don't think it actually exists. I do know it's high though, because right now you're all feeling so pumped, right? You're just like this chick. So yes, this is great. I've got pages of notes. I'm overflowing with knowledge. I've got this. This year's going to be amazing. But what happens when you get home tonight? You crash. What happens when Monday morning rolls around and you're back to packing the school lunches, getting the kids out the door, getting yourself, you're back into the daily grind? What happens then? All this can be forgotten. So I want you to decide, because I've had this responsibility now to close off this conference, apart from Andrea, to make sure this does not happen to you. Let's not make that happen. Let's actually take action. Now, before I proceed, who is this? Brene Brown, Oprah, want to be up here on stage. I'm Leanne Shelton. I am not a life coach. I'm not a business coach. I actually split my time between growing a copywriting agency, so writing the copy for websites, blogs, you name it, and content marketing training, so helping people DIY with the blogs, with the setting up their webinars, podcasts, all that fun stuff. So I have a podcast myself, Marketing and Me. Come check it out. If you're inspired, this is kind of the energy of my podcast. But you know what? I can stand up here and talk to you about all copywriting and content marketing stuff, but it means absolutely nothing if you don't have the right mindset. And same for all the stuff you've learnt. It means nothing if you don't have the right mind on. So I personally have been through my own mindset journey over about 14 years worth of reading lots of self and business development books, podcasts, all the rest of it, because you wouldn't know it from the person standing here on stage today, but when I was younger, I had very low self-esteem. And I think it comes from my dad, who nicknamed Grumble Bums, because he would always be complaining about something in life. Love you, Dad. But see, I naturally felt that if things were going too well for too long, I was overdue for something to go wrong. And that's honestly how I felt, even as a kid. And so I soon learnt about 14 years ago about law of attraction. I'm sure many of the people here in the room, it's actually very mainstream these days, about being in the driver's seat. And I don't have to be the passenger and let life just drive me around wherever it takes me. I can choose to live the life of my dreams. So I want you all to leave here today ready to take action and start working towards that life of your dreams. So 6 little words I have for you to remember. Just us, just do, be you. And I'll go through those. These came to me actually while on a morning run, and they're going to be the basis of my book that I will be writing. So just ask, what do you actually want? Can anyone honestly answer that question? What do you honestly want? Yeah. We don't ask ourselves that, but you need to know to get to where you want to be. To be able to get support, they're going to ask you, oh, what are your goals? You need to ask yourself that. So do you know what you want to achieve by the end of this year? Are you clear on what you want to do in 3 years, where you want to be? Or how about 5 years? Not everyone has that clear vision. And I'm doing a fun little visualization activity now to help you paint that picture, because ultimately you need to immerse yourself in that whole thing about where you want to be. Because it's one thing to have pie in the sky, it's very different to actually live it. So I invite you all to now close your eyes, get yourself comfortable, and take 3 deep breaths. And I want you to imagine it's the morning of the 31st of December, 2022. Imagine yourself in a place that makes you feel calm and happy, and ensure it's really clear in your mind's eye. It could be a place you know well or someplace new. So what can you smell? What can you hear? And what can you touch? You feel a smile spread across your face as you start to reflect upon your amazing achievements from the past 12 months. And you begin by thinking about your career and the opportunities that arose throughout the year. How did you step outside of your comfort zone? Did you pivot, sorry to use that word, in some shape or form? And what new things did you try? And think about how those achievements make you feel. Now think about love and your relationships and partnerships. What memorable experiences did you share with your loved ones? How did your relationships develop among team members and other business owners? Now think of a word you would use to describe how you feel in this moment. Next, I want you to start upon your wealth and prosperity from the year. What type of places did you travel to? What big purchases or investments did you make? And now I want you to imagine picking up your phone, logging into your business bank account, and seeing how much money appears on the screen. It's a substantial amount that fills you with so much gratitude. I want you to see that number, see how much is there, and think about what that money will do for you, your business, and loved ones in 2023 and beyond. I want you to feel that gratitude and appreciation for that money flow through your body, because you know without a doubt that you deserve it. And you know money will continue flowing into your life from here. Now I want you to start thinking about your health and wellness. You made it a key part of your life this year. What did you achieve? How did you keep active? And what type of diet did you have? Imagine placing your hands on your heart, taking a deep breath, and feeling gratitude for the great state of health you're currently feeling. You've never felt better. Your mind then wanders to the way you helped others this past year. Who did you support in 2022? What were their pain points and concerns? And how did you help them? think about how these memories make you feel right now. You begin to think about the creativity and joy in your life. What hobbies did you pursue? How did you express your creativity or find joy this past year? See yourself doing it. And now think about the knowledge you've acquired. What type of self and business development did you undertake? Did you attend courses, read books, listen to podcasts, go to conferences like this? Let yourself feel gratitude for the growth you've experienced as a result. And finally, you begin to think about your reputation. How did you show up this past year and present yourself to the world? Which channels did you use? And what type of feedback or words of encouragement did you receive from others? And meditation's coming to an end, but before we finish, I want you to think about how you have grown as a person and business owner over this past year. What's the difference between where you were in February 2022 and where you are today in December 2022? Once again, feel the gratitude flood your body. It's been a wonderful year. And now as you come back to the present day, I want you to carry that gratitude with you. You can start to wriggle your fingers and toes and stretch if you need to, and slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. How is that, everyone? Is that good? Awesome. I'll take you a moment to Zen. I want you right now, while that's all fresh in your mind, write down what came to you. Dot points, whatever it is, just write it. If you want to draw a picture, what came to you during that visualization? Because this is ultimately going to drive your goals, your actions for the rest of the year. You've already achieved it. Think of it like that. Just give you another 20 seconds, jot something down. Okay, so you can add to that later because hopefully you really felt it, you lived it, and you can easily reflect on that afterwards. And obviously after Andrea's finished, you won't have anyone else to talk, so you have time to flesh this out before you leave this conference. Make sure you do. Now I know at the beginning you said that everyone had at least something that they've learnt, probably more than one thing. I know just this afternoon, like Marjorie brought up, about organisation charts, which I'm going to get on to doing that. Or Beck, I'm going to actually get gifts out to clients, not just at Christmas. I'm going to make that thing. Or even the one-page business plan with Anil just spoke. So I want you to have a think right now and maybe just talk with the person next to you. What's one thing? Let's just commit to one thing that really stood out that you're going to take away. I want you to decide right now. Can be 2 if you want. I'll be kind. Or 3. But just, don't want to overwhelm you, so just pick something. And I want you, when you're thinking about that thing, remember that visualization. It needs to tie into where you want to be at the end of the year. Everyone's clear on something they want to take away? Yep. Fantastic. So that was the first step of the just ask, asking yourself. And I asked you a lot of questions during that visualization. And some of those things probably came really easily to you because you've probably thought about it before. But there's probably other questions I asked you, maybe about hobbies, and you're like, what? I don't have time for hobbies. That actually made you think about it. The next step is to ask others. So, with that conference-inspired action or 2 or 5 or whatever you got, do you need to seek mentorship or advice from someone else to make it happen? Do you need to have a follow-up chat with one of the speakers who are on stage? Or do you know someone else in your world who can help you make it happen? Or do you have to ask someone to action it on your behalf? Outsourcing. Because I know we talked about that yesterday. We all like to do all the things. Is there someone you can ask to manage it because they have the time, the skills, the knowledge, and it's just better to hand over? Or do you need to ask someone to keep you accountable to actually make sure it gets done? We are going to talk about that at the end. So maybe the person next to you can be your accountability buddy. Because we want to make sure it happens. Or do you need to jump out of your comfort zone and ask someone for a new opportunity? So like just my own example, the reason I'm here on this stage is that end of 2019, an email came through from City of Parramatta with all these workshops. And I had this moment of thinking, I'm just going to ask if they want any speakers for 2020. It was for workshops, but that year kind of fizzled. But I have done over 30 hours worth of webinars the last 2 years for City of Parramatta. And then I also helped them set up a podcast, which I believe is in the works. And then I was asked, hey, would you like to speak at the Altitude Conference? So just from asking one question 2 years ago led to this whirlwind of events. And actually Marjorie also, she just asked me, hey, how do I connect to City of Parramatta? And she's also benefited now. So just asking the first thing. Now you need to just do it, okay? You're all inspired, you've asked the questions, you've got the knowledge flowing. You know what you want to do, now you have to do it. Who here procrastinates? Yes. Okay, why do we do it? Anyone know? Fear. Hey, you read my next slide. Fear. Fear of the unknown. What happens next? What if I do it? What if I fail? Hey, failures, learnings. Change that. So, if anyone's a fan of The Greatest Showman, I love it. P.T. Barnum, comfort is the enemy of progress. If you, to stay in your little bubble, yes, you may be comfortable, but your dreams are outside your bubble. So you need to step out and make it happen. So move beyond that fear. So, imposter syndrome has come up. Mia brought it up. I think it's come up in a couple of talks. When you doubt your abilities and think you're a fraud. And I have a little analogy, personification of this whole thing to say treat her like she's your best friend. Whoops, go back. You need to be friends with her rather than resist her or manage her or fight her. Because you know what? When these questions come up, when the slide wants to work. Yep, there we go. Don't have time for this, you don't have the smart skills for this, how the hell are you going to do it? Don't worry about the how seems to work out. Why should anyone listen to me? When all that comes up, that's just like a best friend, just with your best interests at heart. She just doesn't want you to get hurt. That's all it is. She wants to keep you in your little bubble over here because you're comfortable here. Let's get out. So you have a choice. You can choose when those little thoughts of doubt, those seeds of doubt fill your brain, do you let her keep you over here and hold you back from what you want to do and listen to what she has to say? Go, yeah, right. Or do you push past the fear and live the life of your dreams? And I want you to do the latter, obviously. So what you do is give her a hug, all right? Nurture the imposter within. Say to her, all right, H, hear what she has to say. It's going to work. There we go. Whoops. Hear what she has to say. What are the actual words coming to you? What triggers? What is it? Skills? Is it time? What are the actual words that are popping into your head? And then I want you to understand, where did those thoughts come from? Did they originally come from your childhood, from a parent who told you you weren't good enough, or a teacher who said, oh, you'll never amount to anything? Or is it your own stories you've made up in your own head? Just understand the source of it. And then I want you to do the G. Go do it anyway. Anyone familiar with Susan Jeffers? Feel the fear and go do it anyway. 100%. Just push past it and go, look, 100%. Sometimes you'll feel that doubt, and if your intuition, it honestly doesn't feel like the right thing, listen to your intuition. But if you know it's only because it's scary and you've never done it, just push back. Just push past it. Because you know what? When you do go and do it anyway, you get hugs, plural. And the S, anyone want to guess what it stands for? Actually, it's silence. Because she'll shut up because you've done it. She can't say anything else. So she will pop up it's like she's saying, oh okay, I'll shut up now. All right, you do what you want, whatever. She will show up again though. So you have to keep showing up. So you just keep showing up and repeat the process, hear her, understand her, and like, no, this is still feeling right, I'm going to go do it anyway. Now, anyone familiar with this book, Atomic Habits, James Clear? Yep. So there's one thing to, just say you're going to go do it. I loved one of these things he talks about. It's habit stacking and actually making it happen. Anil was just saying before about, breaking into little things. So if you say, all right, I want to improve my social media posts, I want to actually do them. So maybe your habit is you always sit down your computer at whatever time in the morning, you turn it on, maybe check your emails, maybe instead of that, you spend half an hour working your socials. I started a little habit. I wanted to keep a little digital gratitude journal thing on my phone. So before I plug my phone in, the other side of the room, turn it off, all the energy, don't have the vibrations of, technology. So I sit and I do my little gratitude. And I've done it every single day this year because I connected that to my habit. So that is one great way that you can actually make these things happen. But I want you now to think about that inspired, conference-inspired action, and how are you going to make it happen? Are you going to break it into little daily things? Is it a monthly thing? Do you have to ask someone to keep you accountable? Do you have to now, your very first thing is to book a phone call in with someone to get advice? Have a think now what you need to do to make it actually happen. The very first step when you leave this room or you get home. And jot that down. Another thing that James Clear says is about making change attractive and easy. Because when something feels too hard and not fun, you're not going to do it. So make it fun, whether it's something you love, or tap it onto something you love. Like, okay, for example, I have to do the dishes. It just seems to be my thing. Well, last time it's being handled by my husband. So I listen to podcasts and I'll listen to trainings. And so that's how I get through one thing I don't really like and I get inspired at the same time. And then you remember to reward yourself. So that could be something as well. When I've done this, I will spoil myself with that thing. All right, we're up to be you. So, who has been inspired by the people who they've seen speak at this conference? Yes. Or who's just been inspired by anyone ever on YouTube or podcast or whatever? That's great to be inspired, but they are not you. They have different backgrounds to you. They have different experiences to you. They have different family situations, different financial situation. So you cannot compare yourself to them and try to replicate 100% what they do. You can't copy their recipe for success and fall into the trap of comparisonitis. And you can't watch their show reel, I know that's come up as well, on social media and think, oh, I could never amount to that, look what they're doing. You have no idea what's happening behind the scenes, unless you're someone like Mia, who does show it very visually. So you have no idea. And just remember, it takes years to become an overnight success. So you just keep plodding along. I have, role models, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're making so much money, they're doing great. Oh, hang on, they're 10 years ahead of me. So I've got time. Run your own race or just walk your marathon. So have a think now, how are you going to put your personal spin onto your conference-inspired action? Yes, you're inspired. Maybe it was all about videos. You're like, I'm not really a video person. Maybe it's about, planning stuff. You're like, I don't really plan that much in advance, but how can I turn a plan into something that I know I'll do and follow? Maybe it's, setting yourself audio messages, or I don't know. Have a think now how you're going to put your own personal spin on it. And I also want to remind you, BU is part of, self-care comes under that as well. So there's one thing to just, the hustle, I actually hate that word, work really, really hard and all hours of the day and, burn out, but you've got your goal, you're successful, but you burnt out. So what's the point? Because the whole putting your own oxygen mask on first. You can't serve other people unless you take care of yourself. So you can read a book. You don't have to do the facials and massages. All of those are nice. Get them occasionally. Don't feel like it has to be a financial investment into your self-care. Just even getting some fresh air, spending time with your family, doing some yoga, spending some time just to dream, just a daydream, or turn off your devices. That is all part of it. And I also want you to focus on your inner and outer dialogue. Your inner dialogue, that imposter syndrome's coming up, the negativity, go cancel or stop, replace it with a positive thought. No, I can't do this. No, I can do this. Move on. And the outer dialogue, like what Brenda was saying yesterday, stop saying sorry. Don't apologise for being here. Don't apologise for anything. You deserve your own time and space. No one is above you. Yep, there we go, back one. There we go. Because you deserve to be successful, whatever that definition is. It's different for everyone. And you deserve to live an amazing life, but it's up to you to make it happen. And you know what, we were talking yesterday about whys, and I've always thought about, what's my why? Oh, put money in the, food on the table, help support the family, help my 2 kids, do all the extracurricular stuff they want without worrying about the finances. But you know what it also is? Because I've been through this self-discovery journey, I see so much negativity in the world and so much mediocrity, and I want to help other people achieve positivity and an awesome life. That's ultimately what I want to do. Whether it's through the copywriting, helping them get the right words to connect with their clients, or it's through training them and get those aha moments. That's ultimately what I want to do. And so I want to know who's ready to take action from the conference. Who's not going to become one of the 80%? 80%. Yes, meta statistic. I want you to actually read notes. Maybe one of your actions is to read your notes. I know, I'm often guilty of that myself. And I've set up this little accountability group for the conference where you can, I hope the QR code works, otherwise I've got the bit.ly. We can all connect and share our action items and keep each other accountable. So I'd love you to connect with that. It's also a great way to, just all mingle again. I'll keep it up as a pop-up Facebook group for a month or so, just to keep each other accountable. And hey, if it spins off from that, you find one person who's doing something similar to you and you become accountability buddies, I love that system, then awesome. Let's actually make it happen. I've also got here some links, a virtual 15-minute tea with me. You can also find me on LinkedIn and my website, righttimemarketing.com.au. And I would love to chat with you. And I also, if you are inspired, yes, my podcast, if you want to subscribe, there's a link there. Listen in, it's aimed at health and wellness business owners, because that actually is my main niche, about how to grow their business but maintain their own health wellness at the same time. That work-life balance thing. And that's it. So thank you very much. You got this. Woo!
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was awesome. I know I say that about everyone, but everyone's has honestly been so awesome. Now, I'm meant to draw our leaderboard, but my event app is not working true in time. So we will get back to that. We will circle back, as they say. unless it's going to... Oh, it's working. Okay, so the leaderboard for the people that were using the app this week. So in number 1, we have Olivia Broadhead from Lifestyle by Liv, who I don't think is here. But anyway, if we, Agnes will organise that up the back there. Number 2, Kelly Wiseman. Where are you? You have won 2 passes to an escape room, courtesy of the Oil Hut. Tia Beach. And number 3 was actually Tia, who has organised the vouchers, so you can't win unless you want your own vouchers. But we've got Louise Zeri from Email Solutions and Consulting at number 2. Woo! Anyway, so that before I invite Andrea up, that's a massive thank you from me. Thank you so much for having me. I've had a fabulous time. It's really nice to have such a welcoming audience, especially people that participate and like get up and give a round of applause when I require it. So it's been awesome. So thank you so much, and thank you everyone for making it possible.
Can we just really give her a big round of applause? Wasn't she awesome? You did a great job.
Thank you.
And we're going to see Britt again because she's cool. Okay, I'm going to be really quick. I don't want to be too long at all. So, look, this has been a lot. Who feels like, oh, this has been a lot? So I want to just really, really quickly unpack and just wrap up. So one of the things that I've had lots of conversations with all of you, and there were some themes that showed up. And some of the themes that showed up were, I've actually lost my confidence a little bit about like networking and making small talk and chatting to new people. Or, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed and overloaded, I haven't been around this many people. So we had all of that going on and you all pushed through it. So you were amazing, right? But it is a lot. So I actually want you to leave here now and smile and be joyful and don't think anything more about what you've learned. Go and connect with your families. Put your feet up, do whatever it is that you do on a Saturday night and have fun, and stop thinking about all of the inspiration and the list and what you've got to do. Let it percolate. Just let it, just in your intuition, just go and do your thing and just let it settle. Okay, because that's really important too. Will you do that for me? Agree? Make a pledge? Who's going to do that? Okay, great. Because you won't forget anything. You've got notes, there are people you can ask, but also what it does is you're giving yourself, it makes space, right? It makes space for that intuition to kick in that we've talked about, for the little prompting or the little whisper that might say, do this first. And that might come on Monday, or it might come on Sunday night, or as you're going to sleep when you've had a rest. So please, let's do that. Throw at me quickly, highlight, just yell it out. Highlight, come on. You. Oh. Not me. Highlight. A person's name. What's a highlight? Something you learnt. Renee? From Think Wrapped? Yes. Renee Hasseldine? Brilliant. What else? Mia Friedman. Yeah, she was awesome. Anton. Anton was awesome. Is awesome, not was. Who was going to yell out? Connecting with friends. Okay, what about this? Who made a friend? Yes. Yes, that makes me so happy. Oh yeah, I'm talking. I'm really serious when I say party at Anton and Rosemary's house. But anyway, we're working on it. All right. So I have to announce the winners of the Lolly Jars, the Lolly Jar, and the winner's name is on there. This is from Judge Accountants, and the person who won is Ruth Nitto. Is Ruth here? Ruth, yay! Congratulations. A big jar of lollies is now yours, so well done.
I feel like a showgirl. Here we go.
Yes. Sorry? Oh, they didn't tell me that. Oh, sorry. Yes, they did. The number was 177. So you were the closest. 177 lollies. 2 more things. For those of you who are Win with Attitude members, for those of you who aren't Win with Attitude members, please check out Win with Attitude. For those who are, our mentoring sessions kick off on the 1st of March, and for all our Absolute members and those who do mentoring and know what we're talking about, we are going to do accountability for the conference. So on Monday, you'll get an email with your session a booking for whatever sessions you want to book in. There'll be a few different ones, and make that your accountability. So look for that on Monday. It'll be a separate email. And for all of those who would like to know more about that, I will email you that as well. We are going to do a one-day intensive mini conference, one day in October. So we'll be letting you know about that. And the final thing, I'll also, all the women that were helping Aggie, so we've got Agnes, and then Agnes's best friend's name is Agnes, or Aggie. So we had Aggie, Kirsten, and Christine, and Britt. Can we give them a really big round of applause for their help? Also, Andrew, up the back, and his tech team were amazing. Thank you. And Agnes will send a survey out probably next week. So we love your feedback so we can keep making this conference better and better. And is that right, Aggie? You'll send it next week? Okay, the last thing I want to do is that I want Agnes to come up here. And Agnes doesn't like a fuss, so this is going to make her uncomfortable. So I want you to really smile and give her a really big round of applause.